is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says,
oh, hey, you're a mom? That's fabulous. But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channelmom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
I want to say hello to every mom who is listening today, and welcome to the Channelmom Show, where we are celebrating you, Mom. My name is Jenny Dean Schmidt. I'm a mother and host of the show. We are here to honor and love on the moms with great interviews and more. And coming up today, we have an amazing woman. She is a real mom who has agreed to share her story of addiction and bulimia. She's doing this so that she can help anybody out there who might need help with some of these issues. She will tell you how she overcame both of these things in the midst of being a mother. But first, I want to talk about something that might surprise you this morning: prisoners. Let's talk about a few prisoners that I'm familiar with. I'm going to tell you about what I've learned from these actual prisoners about motherhood. Now, when I tell you these stories, I certainly do not expect you to think exactly the way I do or to conduct yourselves exactly as I do. I just share my personal insights in a way that I hope is a help to you as a mother. So, to start this whole thing off, I just want to tell you I happen to be somebody who prays. And I know a lot of other mothers who pray too. In fact, frankly, it's hard not to pray when you are raising children. So years ago, I volunteered to be part of a national group that prays for specific prisoners. Every few months, I get a few prayer requests mailed to me at my home. Usually, the requests are scrawled out on a special form. Some of them are beautifully written. Some of them are barely legible. Almost all of them are from male prisoners across our great nation. While I do not defend any of the actions that landed these men in prison, I do believe it's a good idea to pray for them, frankly. Well, I have to tell you, I've discovered something over the years as I've been reading through these prayer requests that I have received in the mail from inmates. I have brought these precious little scraps of paper in today to read to you what some of these inmates have asked me to pray for. It might surprise you, and I'm going to make a point at the end of detailing some of these. I will not say their names because I want to keep it private, and they could be from anywhere in the country. First one, I would like prayer for my family. And that I would have more communication with them because I'm about to get released. And I want unity within my family. Please also pray for the other inmates and their families. Please pray, this is the next prisoner, please pray for reconciliation of my marriage and that my wife will basically accept who he is. I would like you to pray for my children. This is the next person. Forgive me, that they would forgive me and contact me. Please pray for my children and pray for my ex that we stay unified. Please pray for my mother to find a good job in Gainesville so she can move back home with her family. And then I have a final one that says, please pray for the families. And this was just somebody who wanted us to pray for all the families. So I went through prayer request after prayer request, and I began to think as I gathered these over the years that these are prisoners. They're at the bottom pit in terms of how it goes in this life. And what they want me to pray for is family. It's not selfish things. It's not, please help me to get out of here. Please help me to, have my way with the courts. Please help me to make $1 million. Please help me to get a great job. Consistently, I would venture about 90% of them just ask me to pray for family. And sometimes it's other families. It's that generous. The other inmates' families or somebody else who's going through a difficult time. Pray for my mother, pray for my sister, pray for my brother, pray for my children. And I am blown away by that. And here is what I want to say. So as you look at these and you recognize that prisoners are asking us to pray for family, these are hardened men who you might think would be asking for more selfish things. But for them, it all comes back to family. And, it actually reminds me of 9/11. What happened in the days right after 9/11? Well, first, lots of people decided to go back to church. But beyond that, almost everybody remembered how much their families meant to them. They started calling their mothers, their sisters, their brothers, and of course, many people called their children. And did you know that there were more marriage reconciliations right after 9/11 than ever in recorded history? You know why? Because when the chips are down, we don't care about the trivial things like movie stars and nice cars and being rich and famous. We care about who God is and how much our families mean to us. And that is why the Channel Mom Show is here. We believe that family is a sacred creation, and we exist to build that up every time it gets broken down in this society, and it does get broken down. So, a little unorthodox that I would be reading you prisoner prayer requests, but I wanted to make a point. This is the stuff that matters. And sometimes when I look through these requests, these men are not necessarily good. They haven't done great things in their lives, but I am amazed that it comes back to the family, and it comes back to their children, and it comes back to their mothers. Absolutely awesome. Just love it. And now, the news.
If you're tired of the same old news,
What more do you want? I want the truth.
You're hearing it. Strap yourselves in, folks.
never fear.
What's the dealio?
Part of life is learning to let things go.
We've got news moms can use.
What was that name again? I missed that.
News moms can use.
In the news this week, we've got the latest stories, and we pick them based on what we think that you as a mom wants to hear and what you would like for your own lives. And today we've got some really interesting information for mothers. We've got something that could prolong your life. But first, I just want to start with this. You ready for this, Shell?
I'm ready.
My 8-year-old daughter is like a walking infomercial. So she's sitting next to me yesterday while I was by the computer. She was supposedly cleaning her room. And she starts to say out loud, because she's cleaning her room and she has a lot of junk in her room, she starts to say out loud, space bag. Yvonne S. said that this space bag went through a flood and everything came out dry and mold-free. And Elizabeth G. said that her husband's Marine Corps uniform had been in a space bag for 5 years and everything is completely perfect. And by the way, when I have a baby, I'm going to get a baby bullet. So it was just one infomercial after another.
What's a baby bullet?
I think you make food and you put it in the baby.
Oh, to make baby food.
And then she went on to say, and you can date it for perfect convenience. And so she's in her room for about a 5-minute soliloquy on various infomercials. And really, she was vying for the space bag because as she was cleaning her room, she was hoping to get one.
Well, that would really help her with her clutter, maybe.
So anyway, I was amazed that she remembered that it was Yvonne S. and Elizabeth G. who'd given their testimonials. Bizarre.
Good thing you turned the TV off.
Exactly. My kids do not need TV. All right, now let's get back to the news. What would you think if I told you that your coworkers can actually help you live longer? Well, one study seems to suggest that's actually true. If you have friendly coworkers, that is. This study appears in the journal Health Psychology, where new research suggests that a strong peer network in the workplace helps individuals live longer. What's more, the workplace can be a good place for a guy if he feels like he's in charge of his job, according to Psych Central. Benefits of Peer Social Report on the risk of mortality were most pronounced among those between ages 38 and 43. Having a supportive supervisor didn't seem to have much effect on this age group at all, but having peers that they felt good about was good for them. Men who felt like they had control and decision authority at work also experienced this protective effect on their longevity, I guess, according to the study. But conversely, the same authority seemed to increase the risk of mortality among women. And that's, I know I'm going to get the feminists calling me and saying, don't get that out there, but maybe it's just true that men are more comfortable with authority than women in many cases. Not always, but in many cases it builds them up, whereas women can feel stressed out about it.
Well, and I think, too, going back to the mortality rate of just having coworkers that you enjoy.
Yeah.
There's something relationally there
Yeah.
that needs to happen for all of us.
That keeps you going. Absolutely. I love it because it makes maybe a few more people out there today more willing to go to work. And my coworkers for about 10 years were my children, although I was doing most of the working. But yeah, and I feel like I was most unstressed during those years when it was just me and my kids in some ways.
The other thing I question is retirement. I mean, we look forward to the day where we quit.
Yeah.
Is that really good for us?
I don't know. That's a good point. Alrighty, some new trends have been discovered in grocery buying, and I thought moms might be interested in this morning. This story from Daily Finance suggests that, number one, purchasing natural and organic is a trend. Gravitating toward private labels is another trend. Grabbing items on an as-needed basis, and finally seeking rock-bottom prices. Those are all trends. The article said that you're definitely not alone if you find yourself splurging on organic strawberries, only buying soda on sale, and walking into the dollar store to stock up on canned goods. Apparently, Americans have more health and environmentally cautious approaches right now while also fighting for their economic lives, frankly. Now, as a mom who shops, see if you're part of the latest trends. First of all, excess is out. So conspicuous consumption has become bad manners.
Does that include Costco? Oh, I said a company.
Yeah, you did. That's okay. Maybe we can get them to advertise for that. No, because listen to the next one. I think it's just sort of like, hi, I have an $80,000 car and I have the latest and nicest of everything.
Sure.
You know. Second, private labels are in. It's not that you cannot buy generic, but there seems to be a growing cachet in purchasing private label merchandise. Costco's brand, Kirkland, Trader Joe's its self-named brand, and Target with their Archer Farms brand. More people are gravitating toward those things. Third, organic is recession-proof. Grocery stores like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's are faring well with more recession-proof customers and a higher economic demographic, people who shop there, and apparently it doesn't get affected by the recession, and people are still buying organic. Also natural, that's the new aim. Frito-Lay is actually planning for some chips, which can take as little as 24 hours to be made from a whole potato from farm to bag to make it more natural. Can you imagine? Those are some pretty fresh potato chips. I want to know what store they're coming to in 24 hours, because I'll stand in line for those potatoes. I mean, really.
They got me for those.
Yeah. Yeah. So natural is another trend. Convenience. The typical consumer buys only one or a few items per store trip. Now, I think with gas, that's got to change with the cost of fuel going up, but I'm guilty. I mean, don't you buy one? Sometimes you'll just run in and get 3 things?
Guilty.
Yeah. Yeah. So convenience is also up. And that's the news. You are listening to the Channel Mom Show, where we are celebrating you on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7. I am your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt. You can also watch us all during the week on channelmom.com, or come chat with us about today's show topics and, see us on facebook.com/channelmom. You got to like us to chat with us, I believe. Please like us. And you could also follow us on Twitter. We would love to talk to you there, too. We've got some really great guests coming up, though, for you on the show. We are going to talk to a very real mother who has struggled for years with 2 very big battles, and she's going to help you learn how to get over struggles in that area. Coming up next.